Today I'm going to be reading to you from a book by Dosh Archer all about Detective Paw of the Law, and this story is called The Case of Piggy's Bank. In the heart of Big City is Big City Police Headquarters, home to the Big City Police Force. This is where Detective Paw works with his assistant, Patrol Officer Prickles. Sharp-eyed and straight-talking, Detective Paw can outthink any criminal with his brilliant brain. Patrol Officer Prickles is brave and loyal and has all the latest police issue crime-fighting gadgets. He's always there to help Detective Paw. Together they solve crime. That's what they both love doing, although it's not always easy. And here, can we see, this is Patrol Officer Prickles on this side, and here's Detective Paw. Chapter 1. It was early on Monday morning at Big City Police Headquarters. Detective Paw was just about to bite into his donut when his phone rang. It was Patrol Officer Prickles. "Is Patrol Officer Prickles here? There's been a robbery at Piggy's bank. Can you get here as quickly as possible to solve the crime and find the robber?" "Secure the scene, Prickles," said Detective Paw. "I'm on my way." Detective Paw left his donut uneaten, grabbed his notebook and pencil for writing down clues, and his magnifying glass for spotting teeny tiny clues, and leapt into his vintage mobile. He put the blue flashy light on the top and sped to the scene of the crime. When he arrived at the bank, he noticed there was a big, shiny, brand new Porky Power car with the license plate Piggy 1 parked right outside. Can you see what we've got here? We've got Paw's magnifying glass, his notebook and his pencil, and what's it? This is a brand new Porky car, and it's got Piggy 1 on the number plate, license plate. Yeah. Patrol Officer Prickles was waiting for him inside the bank. "The scene is secure, sir," he said. "Well done, Prickles," said Detective Paw. "Let me know what you've got." Patrol Officer Prickles took out his latest issue electronic notepad. "I arrived at the scene of the crime at 9:04 a.m. I was responding to a call from Piggy, the bank manager. He called to say the bank had been broken into. I noticed the following things. 1. The side window was broken. 2. The safe door was open. 3. There was a crowbar on the floor. 4. The safe was empty." "Well done, Prickles," said Detective Paw. "Good work." Here we are, you see. Look, it's a broken window, crowbar and an empty safe. Right. Piggy, the bank manager, rolled his eyes. "I was the first one here this morning. Someone must have smashed the window, jumped in, broken open the safe and made off with the money." Piggy made his eyes go wide. "It must have been a big, scary robber," he said. The rest of the staff gathered around the empty safe. There was Dorothea, the cashier, and Stanley, the security guard. Dorothea, the cashier, gasped, "Mrs. Battersby's life savings. Poor old lady. She's 101. She was in the bank last thing on Friday. She came in and left her life savings in our care, and now every single penny is gone." "Poor Mrs. Battersby," said Stanley, security guard. "She's a friend of my mum. She's a real nice lady. I don't know how this could have happened." Patrol Officer Prickles looked at Detective Paw. Detective Paw twiddled his moustache and popped a peppermint into his mouth to help him think. "Everyone calm down," he said. "I will get to the bottom of this." And what have we got? Can you see them all here? That's Stanley, the security guard, and he's thinking about poor Mrs. Battersby. Look, can here they all are. There's Dorothea, the cashier, Piggy, the bank manager. Chapter 2. Detective Paul went over to the broken window and looked at the sidewalk outside. He took out his notebook and pencil and made some notes. He said, that sure is interesting for my investigation. Patrol Officer Prickles took some photographs of the window with his latest police issue camera. He looked at the photos and scratched his head. What can it all mean? He asked Detective Paul. Can you see? There's Detective Paul looking out of the window. Gosh. Detective Paul twiddled his moustache. The broken glass from the window is lying outside on the sidewalk. That means the window was broken from the inside and not the outside. He turned round to speak to everyone. The evidence shows whoever did this was perfectly able to get into the bank without having to break in at all. There was a long silence and a lot of uncomfortable looks. Who has keys to the bank? Asked Detective Parr. Why, we all do, cried Dorothea. Look, can you see them all standing there? Oh, everyone's very uncomfortable, aren't they, eh? Wash. Then that means, said Detective Parr, the person who stole the money is in this room. But we're all good people, cried Dorothea. With all due respect, ma'am, said Detective Paul, that remains to be seen. Can you see them all standing there looking very worried, aren't they? Chapter 3. I will need to speak with each one of you and find out where you were this weekend, said Detective Paul. Dorothea, the cashier, I will start with you. I was at a spelling bee all weekend, said Dorothea. I came in second place. I didn't know how to spell bumfuzzle. I hope you've learned how to spell it now, said Detective Paul. Yes, sir, said Dorothea. I went straight home on Friday night, said Stanley, to my room to work on my model aeroplane. I live with my mum. She'll tell you it's true. She kept bringing me hot chocolate. I took all weekend to build it. It's nearly finished. He pulled out his phone and showed Detective Paul a photograph of his Model P-65 Thunderblast. Very nice, said Detective Paul. And Detective Paul fixed his gaze on Piggy. What did you do this weekend? He asked him. Piggy rolled his eyes and pulled out a peanut butter cup from his pocket and munched on it. He mumbled something, and some crumbs fell out of his mouth and onto the floor. It's very rude to speak with your mouth full, said Detective Paul, and you haven't answered my question. What did you do this weekend? I went flying, said Piggy, finishing off the peanut butter cup and licking his lips. In my new aeroplane, a real aeroplane, that is, not a model one. Gosh, said Sandy, a real aeroplane, wow. Detective Paul scratched his head. Patrol Officer Prickles and I need to talk, he said. I want everyone to go into the other room. They all went into the other room. Said Detective Paul. One of them is lying, but which one? This is a 2 peppermint problem. Detective Paul popped another peppermint into his mouth to help him think extra hard. After he'd thought extra hard, he said, that Piggy seems a bit too big for his boots. I have a feeling there is something else we need to discover. Right, said Patrol Officer Prickles. Detective Paul started looking around the room again with his magnifying glass. Patrol Officer Prickles took out his latest police-issue superpowered flashlight and looked under the rug and in all the dark corners. He could see very well using the flashlight, but he didn't find any clues. "Aha!" said Detective Paul. "Look, Prickles, marks on the safe door, but no marks on the safe lock." Can you see them? They're searching for clues, aren't they? Can you see them searching for clues there? Yeah. Detective Paul looked even more closely at the lock through his magnifying glass. "That means," said Detective Paul, "this safe was opened. Someone left that crowbar on the floor to make us think it was broken into. Whoever did this knows the secret combination." Patrol Officer Prickles took a photograph of the safe lock with his latest police-issue camera for evidence. "Wait a minute," said Detective Paul, taking out his magnifying glass. He had spotted something else, some teeny tiny stuff just inside the safe. "Look at this, Prickles," said Detective Paul. "I think this could be our most important clue yet." You see Detective Paul using his magnifying glass. He's looking at some very teeny tiny things there, isn't he? I wonder what they are. Chapter 4. "What is it?" asked Patrol Officer Prickles. "Crumbs," said Detective Paul, "from a peanut butter cup." "Prickles," said Detective Paul, opening his notebook, "let's go over everything we know so far. 1. The window and safe were not broken into. Whoever did this has keys to the bank and the combination number for the safe. 2. A lot of money was stolen and Piggy has a new airplane and a new car. 3. I found peanut butter cup crumbs inside the safe and Piggy eats peanut butter cups," said Patrol Officer Prickles. "Exactly," said Detective Paul. "I think I know who our criminal is. Let's get them all back in." Everyone stood in front of Detective Paul and Patrol Officer Prickles. Detective Paul pointed to the safe. "Is it true that you, Piggy, are the only one, being the very important manager of this bank, the head person, the only one who has the combination number to the safe?"